Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Slam podcast with your usual lineup. Me, Matt.
Me, Shay.
I'm Ollie.
Ollie. Ollie's obviously snuck in a bit early today and overly decorated the room.
Prepped it up. Well, I thought we were all going to contribute, but apparently...
Well, that was the plan.
Just me.
What's the plan?
Plans
changed. Plans changed. This is cool.
This is a nice shirt. I like this
Yeah,
shirt.
I like that. Nice Battistuta number
on the back as well. Classic.
Number
but,
9.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
That one's even better. That's actually from Porto. My neighbour went and he bought it back for me.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but it's got all the team names in there. It's pretty cool. Not the players' names, I mean.
Ollie also only realised that 20 seconds before we started recording.
Yeah, I did. When I was putting it up, I was like, oh, it's got all their names on it. It's pretty cool.
Bit of a mad week, lads, to be fair, isn't it? It feels like not much has happened, but a fair bit has happened.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, because obviously the FA Cup games are on.
Yeah,
and,
no City in the Prem, no
City,
Liverpool
United,
playing at all.
Liverpool, so
that's fine with me, to be honest.
Yeah, do a break.
But the big one is the red cards, or
Multiple
red cards
yeah.
with Fulham.
it was a mad one because it was almost like Fulham were well in control of that game. To be fair,
Was it 70 odd minutes and they were 1-0?
Yeah, well into the
still
70th minute, I think. And it's almost like they've just thrown away the season, really. Because you think, well, they're obviously out of the FA Cup now, and they're missing obviously the manager, 2 key players, and they were looking really good, pushing towards Europe.
I mean, they're still having a great Premier League
no,
season.
don't get me wrong, but you know, it could derail the Europe bid and stuff. It was just a mad couple of minutes. I mean, I've got my opinion on it, but I don't know. Do any of you want to step in?
I mean, the Mitrovic red card, it was definitely a card.
I think all 3 red cards.
Red
cards.
I don't know about the Marco Silva one. I haven't really seen why that happened.
He literally, the ref's checking the VAR screen. He bounces out his technical area, and he gives him a little F off, and it's like a very obvious F off, and it's a red card, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a red card.
I think, like you said, we were talking earlier, a lot's been made of it, which is a bit weird.
The Mitrovic one,
Yeah,
especially.
well, I think it's because they are trying to clamp down on players shouting at the refs. Like they kept putting Arsenal up on it, and this was just so blatant. Like he kind of punched him a little bit, like just to stop him, but like it's a forceful guy.
Yeah,
Mitrovic, he's a big lad.
Pulls him back.
It would definitely hurt a bit if he did it to me.
It's one of those things, though. I feel like there always has to be a bit of drama in football, and I just feel that in this occasion, what is the drama here? Like everyone thinks it's a red card, from what I gather.
Yeah,
and it's I understand the calls for it to be more than a 3-game ban, but maybe for that point, just to make an example of it.
Yeah,
I think it's attached, isn't it, to the fact that the massive talking point at the minute is like grassroots referees, and how loads have obviously sacked it off because of abuse from players and spectators and coaches, and then if you're watching, arguably probably outside the top 6 clubs, one of the best centre forwards in the Premier League, sort of rag a referee, it's obviously going to send out the wrong message, isn't it? But then sent off 3-game ban. Do you reckon that's all right, or do you reckon it warrants more?
I mean, 3 games is a lot, and I've seen like 10-game suspension being banded around, which just seems really harsh on Fulham. But if you want to set an example of, and you want to really reduce this in the game, then you kind of have to come down quite hard on him, you know?
Yeah, but I think that could be done by a 4 or 5-game ban, maybe. You know, make it slightly more serious than your normal red card.
I mean,
Paul, is it Paul Field, the head of the Referees Association, turned around and said it should have a similar level of punishment to when Cantona karate kicked a fan.
Oh, what? He said that?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a bit different, isn't it?
This is what I mean,
a bit different.
Over the top takes like that, it's like just make it a bit more so that people know, right, we're serious about this. And listen, no one's going to do it because like if you're getting a 5-game ban for doing it, I think that sends enough of a message.
Battistuta having a wobble.
But then, if you're Mitrovic, I can have sympathy for him if he's the player who's unfortunate enough that it's happened now to be made an example of.
Yeah,
I suppose.
But the way he was going on, though, it's not acceptable at all.
No,
like he was chasing him around. He was really getting aggressive with the ref. I don't know what he was saying. I don't know if he was speaking English, Serbian, or what. But he was forceful. He looked like he was very angry. I don't really get why he was so angry.
He could have said something as well that we don't know about, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just a simple one. Yeah, make it a couple of games more maybe than the standard ban, and that sets enough example. Nothing silly like 10 games or something. That's just stupid.
It doesn't warrant 10 games, is it? And like you said, the effect that it could have on Fulham's season, if he's the main man and he's banned domestically for 10 games.
10 games.
That's
how many games are we into the season now on the Premier League?
I think there's like 16, 17 matches left. I could be way off there.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, off the top of my head.
I think
there's a fair amount.
Yeah.
Put it this way,
he missed most of them based on what's left.
But he would, he'd miss a lot if they give him a 10 matches.
There's enough of the season left that at this point, in our title winning season, we were still unbeaten.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a long time ago. Now.
Not sure the relevance of that.
I'll get the 7-0 in there again at some point.
Brilliant. But yeah, I think we're all agreed on this, aren't we? Really, it's a pretty straightforward one.
Yeah, I mean it's still a bit like controversial because how much time really? I don't know if it's that simple for the main guys because they're coming from the referee viewpoint and they want to protect their refs and they want to make sure that players aren't attacking refs like this. So they might have to like.
I think the other sort of debate that's arose from it is about how that particular ref is from Greater Manchester, isn't he?
Which what's his name?
Cavan.
Yeah, he's another one.
He's from Greater Manchester, but obviously he basically says he doesn't support either Manchester team, so he can ref both Manchester teams. But I think
his dad's a massive, that's what I said.
I think there should be a bit of a blanket rule there because it's like Michael Oliver doesn't ref Newcastle. Yeah. I mean, he's a self-confessed Newcastle fan, so he doesn't ref Sunderland. And when there's teams around Newcastle, like when they were in a relegation scrap, he couldn't ref them either. Which is fair.
Yeah.
Mike Dean, obviously, he's from over the water. He's a massive Tranmere fan, but and to be fair, he is regularly pictured in the stands at Tranmere.
Yeah, definitely Tranmere fan.
Do you not think there should just be like a blanket statement of like, if you're from that city or that area, you just don't ref them teams?
Then when do you stop? Because obviously, growing up as an English football fan, you've got feelings about every Premier League team, every team. So what, do you just start bringing in like foreign refs that don't have as much connection with the English game?
When you go professional, there's professionalism, isn't there? But I think there's unconscious, but there's always, if you're from Greater Manchester and he just decides, listen, I don't support you, the Manchester team, okay, maybe, but do you not think there's a potential for that unconscious bias? Whereas if he's reffing I don't know, Crystal Palace, he's probably not going to be as arsed.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke about this last week, didn't we, with Anthony Taylor? And I suppose it would be easier if you just had that blanket thing. But you get it from both sides. Like he'll definitely get it from both sides. You get it from United fans going, you're being overly biased to the other team, try and prove you're not a United fan.
Yeah.
The other way as well. So it might be easy, but then again, it's a lot of your top refs.
Well, he's a Class 1 ref, isn't he? So I think that's how they do it. There's grades of the referees even within the Premier League, and I think that determines who goes on as our representative for Champions League matches and international games. And Kavanagh is the top band, but then it's just interesting. Do you not that debate's always going to arise?
Yeah,
probably it's overdone a bit.
That's it. The effect it actually has, I think, is so minimal that it's probably not worth worrying about. But then it would save a lot of arguments if they just did that. So I could see both sides of it, but
yeah, I think there's too much work to not too much work, but I don't think it's that deep. Really, it doesn't. I think it's okay.
Well, you were saying otherwise last week, with Anthony Taylor.
I was with Anthony Taylor. So, obviously the main ones, but I don't know. It's difficult to just try and be a blanket. You've got some kind of distant affiliation. No, you can't ref because then you're going to miss half the games, and I don't know. But I do think it's kind of drawn out, and I'd quite like to talk about Chelsea-Everton because I'm very upset about it, to be honest. We were doing well, we were playing well, and then Sims just comes back from loan, just steal 2 points off for Chelsea, which is a bit annoying.
The slowest fake shot I've ever seen, by the way.
Yeah, but when you're running against Koulibaly, apparently it doesn't matter. Just deck him on the floor.
We touched on Ellis Sims, didn't we, the other week when we were talking about Everton, and I said, bang out of order, they brought him back on loan. Why drag him into this? And then he goes and equalises against Chelsea. So, I mean, good for him, happy for him.
Yeah, fair play to him. Not that happy for him, but fair play.
Does it just seem a bit stop-start for you at the minute? Obviously, you go through in the Champions League and then you draw.
Yeah, it does a bit. I mean, I feel like the Champions League just feels very separate to the Premier League. I think it always does with Chelsea. I think it's just the way we are as a club. But our Premier League season is still very much in trouble. Whenever we're playing well, we still look very prone to conceding a goal at all times. As soon as they attack, we're whoa, a bit shaky. Especially without Thiago Silva now, it's dangerous because he's like a brick wall. I love Thiago Silva, and he's so calm and measured at the back. But Koulibaly he doesn't have that same assurance. And Paddy is shielding for Fofana, by the way, and Paddy is shielding, both been incredible, but they're still very inexperienced. So that over 90 minutes, it's hard for them to keep up.
It's game management, isn't it? I can't watch it anymore. That video of Graham Potter. it's like a scene off the in-betweeners.
It's painful, isn't it?
And then we'll fucking
win the Champions League. No,
And then-
I love him. He's trying.
But
he's trying.
He's like a young lad, like at school. He's trying to get in with the older kids. Like he's trying to, I
He
swear,
literally says it and goes, huh?
Yeah. It felt a bit awkward, but for some reason I've got like a little soft spot for him. I
think you can't not. He's just a nice guy. Like,
but this happens all. It's the same thing of why, like, when Sean's Ice left Burnley and everyone was like, oh, it's a bit mad, and they got relegated. But you know, it's like, I just think there's this massive that we all just go, oh, he sounds because he's an English manager.
Yeah. But he's clearly a talented manager. Like at Brighton, he was great.
Like,
no, it's a big
you were
change.
calling for him to be like sacked.
I wasn't. I was saying it was more pressure coming. I never said that he should be sacked. I've always said we need to give him time because it's such a difficult job. I'd argue taking over Chelsea this season is one of the hardest jobs in football because we've got a new owner. Like most of our squad is brand new. Like Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to come back from loan and go, "Who the hell are all these fucking people?" Like
at the same time, he's a new manager who was like, "Here's so many 100 million, go and buy whoever you want."
Yeah, but it's the long term. It's the long term we're looking at Chelsea right now.
It brings its own difficulties that as well, doesn't it? When you've got to manage all these egos, it'd be totally different from what he did at Brighton.
Well, I think he's that guy. He's the ego guy. He's the man managing guy. He's got that psychology degree or whatever he's got. His like expertise is getting the best out of like young players and coaching them like mentally and physically.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Brighton haven't really struggled without him.
They haven't. But I think that's credit to the Brighton players.
How much
like,
is
they've
it
got
down
some ballers.
to Evan Ferguson?
Evan Ferguson.
Even Ferguson.
All in just those 10 games. I'd argue it's more down to Mitamina and McAllister and Casado, but you say your piece on Evan Ferguson.
I just want 1 minute of everyone's time here, just to rave about this guy. I'll say...
You're impressed, aren't you? You are really impressed.
I am. I've never...
2 goals against Grimsby and Shay's Ballon d'Or
I feel
candidate.
like, obviously, when
Golden Boy Award.
When Rooney was breaking through, I was too young, so I don't really remember it. But I feel like this is... Maybe this is going too far. I don't know. I'm getting so excited about this guy. But I just feel like it's just... Look at him. He's such a natural footballer. He's tall. He's quick. He's good with his feet. He's good in the air. He's such a good finisher. I just rave about him to the point where if I could make one signing for United this year...
I was just about to ask you that.
It'd be Evan Ferguson.
Summer signing, either Harry Kane or Evan Ferguson. You're taking Evan Ferguson.
We need 2 strikers. I just think he has to be one of those strikers.
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, I'm obsessed with him to the point where it's a bit creepy, to be honest.
But based on what though? Like,
His potential on FIFA is pretty good, to be fair.
I reckon I've seen him maybe even four or 5 times. Every time I've gone, wow, he's just really good. And maybe I'll fall flat on my face and he'll do nothing.
I mean, I doubt it. Brighton just keep producing really good football players, so I'm sure he will be a great player.
Just look at him. He's like I don't know how exactly how tall he is, but I think he's like 6'2".
how old is he?
18.
He's 18.
18. I think he's played like 10 games for Brighton, scored about 6 goals.
Damn.
Like he's leading the line for them in the big games now. Honestly, I want everyone to just know that I was the first on this guy's hype
Yeah, it wasn't
train.
deserving.
It wasn't Deserby. It wasn't the entire Brighton scouting set
I
up.
was
It
the
was
first
Shane
guy
McGurran.
on this guy's hype train, and you can still buy tickets if you want to come aboard. Honestly, watch him, honestly. But there you go. I'll move on.
Have it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, look out for him next time. You Brighton are playing.
Remember like, when we played them and got battered? I remember him being like...
He scored, didn't he? I think he
about...
scored. Yeah, he scored. I think he scored.
I have a nightmare of just playing Brighton now that's blended into one, mate, to be honest. But
Yeah.
Well, they battered us a few times.
I think everyone's scared of Brighton right now. I know you're... What do you think about your chances against them in the FA Cup?
I'm concerned. I was concerned about Fulham, and it's for similar reasons I'm concerned about Brighton. I think they've almost got a free hit here where they're obviously not worried about the league. They're pushing for Europe, but like they've almost got a chance here, and I think the players will know it. Like how many chances you're going to get to an FA Cup final. I think they'll be right up for it. And it's always that thing of playing a team that aren't that used to being at Wembley, and I just think the fans will be up for it. So I think it'd be difficult.
It's massive for them, isn't it? It is massive for them. It almost feels similar in the build-up to how we spoke about when you played Newcastle in the final.
Yeah.
Of in like, to them, like this game's massive, and if they lose, it probably doesn't massively matter because it's the start of a journey almost.
I agree with that. Although I do feel like Brighton might hit a peak and come back down because they haven't got the same financial backing like Newcastle. Like if this was a Newcastle team, I'd bet on them to keep Mitoma, keep McAllister, but I don't see.
My concern with them is if they get European football, we could see like a similar effect to sort of what West Ham are going through at the minute, where like it's great playing in Europe, but I'd say at any level if you're Brighton, but the hangover from that is
I mean, I think even Liverpool are suffering from the hangover of playing too many games.
I think that the teams that have played north of 80 games in the last 2 seasons are all struggling by their own standards.
Yeah,
I mean, including Man City, they've sort of kicked into gear to a bit, but I think like Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea, I think and City. I think there's 4. There might have been someone else, but they're the teams that have played northwards of 80 games.
I'm sure we've played a lot, and we've like last couple of weeks we've been dropping off, and this international break's come at a great time because we've really been struggling. So it's affecting a lot of teams. I think
that's the thing. Like obviously, if you're a Brighton fan, you're not going to go, let's not qualify for Europe in case it's too many games next year. No one's going to think that. You're going to be thinking of Boss Little away days. Like it'd be amazing.
Well, talking about a Boss Little away day, Sheffield United are in the FA Cup semi-final. Going to Wembley, that's huge for a championship team.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people think he's City already in the final, but I think they'll give him a game again for the exact same reasons. Great day at Wembley, really big supported club.
I think it's not too long since they were in the Premier either.
Exactly, yeah. I think they'll make a game of it. Listen, I think City.
I still
will
think City.
I think City will win. But I think it'd be a good game.
That's the thing with City, and they can. We could say, if they make a few changes, if City make a few changes, it's still like the first 11 of world class players.
I mean, it's probably going to be 6-0 in it after we've
just picked them up there. It's crazy.
To be fair, I'd be intrigued by an all-Manchester final at this point of the season. Looking at both,
I think it'd be
teams.
a great final. The Manchester derby a few weeks ago was really good to watch. I only think it would get better if you do it at Wembley.
It's one or two things. It'll either get better or Haaland will just turn into the absolute robot he is and just bang
that seems better to me. I don't know. Sounds fun.
Games like that really question. Do I actually like football? Because I would hate that. I would hate that game. Like to play City in the final. Why is that? I like football. I'd hate that game.
Yeah, and it's just the pressure. You wouldn't hate it after you win it.
I love us playing City. It's always a quality game, and to be fair, we tend to win, except last time. But
it's like I spent like forever in Europe, and there's like say you or City in Europe. I'm like I dread getting yous. I'd hate those. I hate those games.
Massive.
I hate those games.
Whereas I'm convinced we can beat Real Madrid. I think I just am, and I think we could beat City or Munich in the semis.
This is where I like games against Barcelona, and Real Madrid, but somebody like City and Liverpool, I just hate those games so much. I just hate them.
Yeah,
so.
I think there was weird, isn't it? There's teams that stand out in your head. I love playing City. I love playing the big games in England. I love playing the shit games in England, except Brighton.
Yeah.
And Wolves, sick of them as well. By the way,
I hate any team in bottom 10. Even Southampton, bottom of the league, and they beat us 1-0. Any team in the bottom 10, I'm just terrified of.
I feel like with Wolves, every team goes through that where you feel like you play them about 6 times in a row, don't you? We had that.
I mean, we basically did though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but
I feel like Liverpool were playing Wolves or Brighton every single week.
I feel like we beat them 1-0, I think 3 times in a row, and we almost broke the curse. I think that's what you have to do. You have to beat them 1-0.
You have to
3
break
times
the curse
in a row, and you break the curse, and you're out of that curse, and you only play them twice a year after that.
And you can never go on a holiday to Portugal again afterwards.
Yeah.
I think obviously we're out the Champions League now, so I think when it comes to European chats going forward, lads, it's over to you.
It's just me. I guess you're in the Europa League, aren't you?
Damn right.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, it was a bit of a mad one actually, because we spoke about it last week, and I said I don't think we're going to do it, but never say never with Liverpool.
Yeah.
It was always unrealistic. As soon as it was 0-0 at half time, I think it was like the belief dropped, and it was a lot flatter in the second half. But it was mad because no one was bad.
But you'd have to be exceptional to reverse that score.
Yeah, as an independent game by itself, 1-0 to Madrid away is fine. I think that's fine. And I think it showed that if there were certain players that played in the first leg, it wouldn't have been 5-2. But it is what it is. But I wasn't too disheartened with the actual match itself, to be fair.
And then Rio have got Chelsea next. And people seem to be writing off Chelsea like, they're not going to do it. And I get, because we're having such a bad season in the Premier League, we probably aren't, we're definitely not the favourites. But we've played Real Madrid like 4 times in the last 2 years. We've drawn once, we've beat them twice, and we've lost once. I'm telling you, Chelsea in the Champions League are on a completely different team to Chelsea in the Premier League. Over 2 legs, we're so hard to
I
beat.
think even more so now, because if you go out the Champions League, your chances of Europe next season are really slim.
important to us, the Champions League.
Yeah. But I think with Real Madrid, it could be interesting as well, because the last couple of years, weirdly, they've almost been like the underdogs in a lot of games. And I don't think they were against you, but a lot of people, almost there's never that respect for them. Like, they've got quality midfield, quality attack.
I think everyone knows how good
Yeah,
Real
everyone knows,
are.
but it's almost like that doubt in the back of their mind, like they can't do it again this year.
I think Real Madrid had a little off period of a few seasons where everyone was sort of like, these are obviously about to sort of start a rebuild.
Yeah.
You can take them.
What year was that though? Because they won the Champions League apart from like 1 year.
It was just a 2-week.
It's just
Yeah,
like
just
a
2 weeks.
6 month. But
Just that one
It was
game
like
against Chelsea.
like the season before last, them and Barcelona were sort of, by their standards, seemed to just be in a bit of a crisis.
Barcelona for sure. I think less so with Real though, I'm not going to lie. I think they've still been bossing Europe for like most seasons.
But my point was that a lot of people are sort of just half written them off in the back of their head. And then, because this game, obviously, they're going to be strong favourites, maybe it could work into your advantage.
I think it could. I think Real Madrid are scared of Chelsea. I'd say that with no prior knowledge of anything inside the Real Madrid dressing room, but I think they're scared. They've come here, they've come to us and been knocked out to us like 2 years ago. They knocked us out last year, but it was close. The first leg, yeah, they walked it. Benzema went on a madness. But the second leg we won. It was only because of a late goal that they went through.
I don't think that'll be in there. Mate, they turned us over 5-2 at Hamsters.
Yeah,
I think they're going to
We're not
for
Liverpool
everyone.
though.
And like it's mad. So, you know, Vinicius Junior. I had this thing literally up until this season that he was. Everyone's like, oh, he's amazing. He's a world class winger. He's gonna burn Trent's head out. Like, and I always had it. Oh, he's just like the cover boy of FIFA. He's quick and he's Brazilian and like everyone. And his name's Vinny Junior. Like, whoa. This season though, what
He's mad.
quality.
He's really good.
He is a really good player.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's unbelievable.
He's starting to add more goals. 'Cause I was confused why they'd always start Rodrigo behind him. Like I always thought Rodrigo was slightly better. He scored more goals. He's more helpful. But Vinicius Junior is just really.
I had the same thing, and I think it was the City games last year. I watched him. I was like, wow,
he's the real deal. Like, oh mate, he's quality, and like he's doing it against. It's mad. You see players for Real Madrid, Barcelona. I have this match. I think it's huge. I just don't really rate players on doing a million step overs in La Liga or the Bundesliga. But when you see in those big Champions League games where they just like tear top, mate, he's quality.
Yeah,
I know.
that goal he scored against Liverpool was class in the first leg.
It was a crucial goal. That
It
as well.
was,
Yeah,
it was.
it's massive, isn't it?
goal.
Did anyone clock that? Speaking of the Bundesliga, the Leverkusen thing with
That
with
was so
VAR.
mad. I loved that. Like respect to the referee. So for anyone that didn't see it,
Yeah, I didn't see it. So
Yeah.
tell me.
so the player, I think it was Abdi or Abli, runs into the box, gets fouled, goes down. Referee pulls him for simulation, books him for a yellow. Someone's had a little natter in the ref's ear, like go check the VAR, checks it, realises it wasn't a dive, he was fouled, takes the yellow card back, gives a penalty. And then later on, the same player gets taken down in the box. Referee books him for simulation.
Again.
Another little natter in the ear. I'll go check it on the screen. No, never mind. No yellow card. Another
He sees it
penalty.
again.
Twice in the same.
And that, to be
same
fair to
player.
the lads, he was just like laughed it and shut the ref down, and the ref was a bit like.
Sorry, mate. Yeah.
But I think I saw on Twitter 100% that ref's fucking cousin had like 30 quid on him to give out so many yellow cards or something.
Just really wanted the booking for diving.
Were they both like subtle challenges?
They were close, yeah. Like you could see how the ref could get it wrong in like a split second. Like kind of just got clipped.
I still think it was a bit of a
No,
dive.
he did. Like not the foot. The foot brushed it a little bit, and I think that is enough to take him down. But the knee, like the player's knee when he was sliding in, did kind of clip him as well. I think he definitely, in my eyes, it was definitely penalty both times.
I think the thing with it is though as well. Look how well they just use VAR.
Yeah.
Everywhere
You
else.
say about the Germans, but they are organised. they know how to be efficient.
Literally everywhere else, it's like bang done. Yeah. There's a big kick up in Scotland as well at the minute with the Scottish Premier League. I'm actually proper for it. I think we should have it as well. They're on about bringing in, rather than rotating, so your referee can be in the VAR box 1 week and then he's a fourth official, then he's a ref, and it rotates. just VAR refs,
Yeah.
specialist
Specialist
VAR
It
refs.
needs to be
That stay as
realistic.
VAR refs, and the Scottish Premier League are debating it now because at the weekend there was nightmares all over the league. There was like VAR checks that lasted ages, like it took ages, and then usually when it takes a certain period of time, they tell the ref to go and review it, don't they himself? And they just didn't. It took absolutely ages, and then just said, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it." And it was, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
And so they're really looking into it, and I just, why isn't that the default anyway?
That just feels like such an obvious thing.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
massively. Surely that would fix like 90% of the debate and the issue that we have about VAR.
Yeah.
You had and then you could say if someone makes a cock up, all right, it's a cock up. But when you've got like someone on the pitch, it's a completely different skill set.
Yeah,
It's a completely different
it is.
job.
I mean, a lot of time they can't even draw the lines right. If you have an actual VAR specialist,
Trains
You're
VAR
not gonna get
official,
as
sits
much.
in front of the screens
Yeah.
every week, and they do different games each. Makes so much more
it
sense.
does make a lot of
It's
sense.
doing that one week and then going back to normal refereeing the next week.
And
Yeah,
then,
it's
then you
completely
then you
different-
stood between the
completely
managers,
different job.
telling them to calm down as a fourth official.
That does feel like such an obvious thing, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Why
it
is
does.
that not
Why
a
is that?
specialist VAR?
You're
refs?
a ref. You're that.
Yeah.
Just what?
I guess just because it's new, but you think that's the first thing they would do: train people properly, just
Yeah.
to specialise on VAR.
It's mental.
Yeah.
England. I'm not going to watch
I'm not
any
going to
of
watch.
it. But
It is fairly like Euro 2024 qualifiers. I think us
match day
England
two,
fans
it's
Don't
ten
try and
minutes.
back it up,
So
Ollie.
it makes-
It's
I'm not
shite.
saying I'm
why
going
does
to
it
watch
need
it.
10 match days to qualify?
But- I mean, it's the game, innit?
They're playing
How they
Ukraine.
play.
It's a bit alas if
Playing
you win
Ukraine,
there, isn't it?
Playing Italy.
I suppose it has to be done, doesn't it? Because you have to qualify for it. But I just
Yeah.
sort of wish they could just do it on a computer or something. And just simulate it. Or
Use a
something.
coefficient or
Yeah.
something. But I've clocked the squad anyway, and I looked at it, and the same as I do every time we go into a tournament under Gareth Southgate, I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Well, I think because there's qualifiers, you can afford to kind of take some risks, take some
But he
weird,
hasn't.
different. I think Gahey, I like that. Crystal Palace have good defence. I
And he
always
comes
struggle
out,
to score
we-
against them.
I'm not going to take Raheem Sterling because he's not fit. Calvin Phillips goes, who's played 36 minutes all season.
Yeah.
The big one for me is Florian Balogun.
Mm.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't know
he's-
a lot about him.
He was born in America, but he's
destroying
like,
Liga.
he's a striker. He's
Oh,
destroying. Yeah,
He's that one at
plays in France.
Yeah.
with that Will Still guy.
Will
he's
Still.
his manager, isn't it?
As a point of we cannot mention that in this podcast.
He's,
We're not.
he's 90 games unbeaten.
90 games
in
unbeaten,
League One.
and they get a fine every time he
Still,
plays.
That's-
£22,000 fine
mental,
if
isn't
you don't have his UEFA Pro license.
They've been beat now though, so
They have, so that's over,
that's
innit?
done.
Gutted.
But yeah, Balogun. He obviously, if I was Gareth Southgate and this kid's up and coming, and you don't know where he's, just cap him. Just cap him.
Yeah, get him in the team.
And he wanted to play for England, and basically he was excluded again. And he whacked on his Instagram story just after, "Go where you're appreciated." So he's going to go play for the USA.
How old is he, by the way?
I don't think he's 20. I don't
Right,
think he's 20
okay.
yet.
Marketing
He
wise,
might be.
that's probably smart from him though, because he'll be like their main guy. They'll put so much effort into making him shine.
The
USA.
USA team
Yeah.
have like a very high ceiling at the minute as well.
They
Some of
do.
the kids they've got, but and I was just looking at this England squad again, and obviously, all right, the Maguire debate happens every time. He's probably going to always go because he's all
He
right.
does
for
well
England.
for
He does well for England.
Um,
Yeah.
At what chance did the lads that do well through the regular season get a go?
Well, they are
It's
like
Tomori.
Gahey getting brought up. Tomori's always a weird one to me. I don't understand it. I guess he just likes Premier League football.
It's 'cause
I
it's
guess.
just, yeah, but like he'll rock up at the most obscure Premier League game.
Yeah.
Like, go and watch these lads.
Go and watch
How
Milan.
hard is it to go and watch a Milan game? And
There's
just,
so many English talent in Serie A as well, like Tammy Abraham, Chris
Yeah.
Smalling, Tomori, like
do you know what, Chris Smalling?
Smaldinho.
Do you know what, Chris Smalling? I'm surprised he hasn't sort of been brought back into the national fold because he was doing well for Roma.
Yeah. But to be fair,
Chris
every
Smalling
centre back. Yeah, I mean, like all centre backs do well under Jose Mourinho teams. Like they're built to be good, to be defensively good. Like
Yeah, it's just-
Having watched both multiple times, I can confirm Maguire is levels above Smalling.
mate, Smaldinho.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, oh yeah. Just a better footballer all round.
Yeah.
Smalling had his strengths, but it just, honestly, it's like he needed oiling every time he turned. He was,
I mean, that is the thing as well. I've just, like I said before, didn't I? I'm not arsed really how you do domestically in Germany, Spain. Italy.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're one of the biggest advocates for the Premier League is so far ahead of the rest of the
I
league.
just think it is. I think, like, at the minute, that's why, is it 15th and below is the closest it's ever been now. Like we spoke about this the other week, the first.
Yeah.
I think it's the competitive of the Premier League is everyone is
Talent
so,
in the Premier League is crazy.
and like you've got European level managers at like every club now.
Yeah.
Like it's boss. I think this league is massively ahead of everyone.
Apart from at Chelsea. No, I'm kidding. I love Potter.
Yeah, but the England thing, he's obviously got his favourites, hasn't he? And
But there's no optimism.
I know, and the one for me, I said this before we came on, didn't I? That Ollie Watkins, he said he didn't pick Ollie Watkins because he had to pick Rashford and Kane, which, you know, you can.
What does that mean?
Exactly, but then that point's completely irrelevant because Rashford's had to pull out and he's not called him up.
Yeah, I'm so confused about that. So he's just going to take one less guy instead of just asking Ollie Watkins.
He swapped a few rounds.
In.
The thing that I did find funny is Mount's withdrew, hasn't he, with injury?
I don't know if he was selected.
And I think, or he wasn't selected because of injury. That might
Probably.
And what made me laugh is Mason Mount actually has an incredibly good injury record throughout his career.
Yeah.
And the minute he got linked with Liverpool, he just got injured because.
Well, this is weird though, isn't it, with Mount? Because is he fully unfit, or does he just not like Chelsea right now? Because he doesn't want to sign the new contract, which is confusing me. Because like 2 years ago, he was the academy boy, winning us the Champions League. Like he scored the goal that put us through against Real Madrid, and now he just doesn't seem to want to be at Chelsea anymore, which is a bit odd.
I think I've heard that they're far apart in negotiations.
Yeah, it seems that way. But you'd think coming from Chelsea, being a common boy, you'd want to stay. You'd want to stick through with your team. But he just doesn't seem to have any allegiance.
There's that thing in there, like behind the scenes, we don't really know what's going on. Like stuff could be said.
The manager could have said, "Listen, I think you should find a new club." Like, there's a million things.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this thing about Mason Mount this season because I've been to the Bridge a few times this season to watch him, and he just doesn't seem to like the new signings. I think he misses when it was him and all the under-21 players.
Like, they'd all played together for years.
Because that core with like Tammy Abraham, Tomori, Reece James, Mason, and now like every time I watch Mason Mount play with like Mudryk, he just looks like he doesn't want to pass to him, and when he has to, he's like, oh, didn't really want to do that. But
I like the idea that he's having a strop because he doesn't like.
I think he is. I think he genuinely is.
Now, so
yeah.
Don't like this.
He might go over to Roma. You know?
You always thought, didn't he? He was desperate for Declan Rice to sign for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that might be another thing. Like now that Enzo's come in, we don't really need Declan anymore. I mean, I'd still take him, but Enzo is miles better in my eyes.
Where would he go, Declan Rice? Just wondering.
I don't know.
He's going to stay at West Ham.
I
Liverpool
think
could do
where
with him.
Declan Rice goes is going to be influenced by where Jude Bellingham goes.
Probably.
I think
linked in it.
That's going to be a massive thing.
What, as in they won't go to the same? Like,
I think
I don't think anyone could afford to.
I think a lot of clubs this summer, it's probably going to be like, we want Bellingham. Obviously, they're slightly different players, but we want Bellingham. If we can't get Bellingham, we're probably going to go for Rice.
I see that.
I think for us, either would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I
mean, anyone coming into that midfield. You said the other day Lucas Leiva could come back and be your best midfielder.
Lucas Leiva, with his heart condition, would still be our best midfielder at the minute.
Get Mascherano back in there.
But I think Rice is interesting this summer. I think it's just going to revolve around Bellingham. We're linked with Mount as well.
Yeah.
And there's almost like an alternative now that it's like if Liverpool don't sign Bellingham, would you be happy with us pursuing Mount, Rice,
would you?
and someone else?
I thought he was asking you then.
Mount's weird because like I think 18 months ago I'd have been like, yeah, he's all right. And then I remember watching him in the World Cup and just thinking, what are you doing? And he just doesn't excite me. I think if we did sign him, I'd eat my words, and he'd end up being really, really good.
He definitely would be very good signing for Liverpool. Like he's a really, really good player.
I just don't think he brings anything new. I don't think he.
I think he adds goals to your midfield, and I don't think you have that at the moment.
I don't think goals in our midfield is a problem. I think Liverpool can score
it's
goals.
Definitely not a problem to have though. If you have a player like Mason Mount who can get you goals from a midfield role, it's a nice solution.
Yeah, it's a definite alternative, and I think something that we've always struggled for is Plan B.
Yeah.
I said, listen, if we were going to sign him, I think he'd be good depth. He'd be a player to have in the squad, because I still think like at the back of our season, I sort of was thinking about this the other day, and it's something I've not really spoke about. I didn't look at Liverpool at the end of last season and go, there's players I want to sign there to improve that team. I looked at it and thought there's players I want to sign to give depth to that team. I didn't look at a position and go like, he's not good enough to play there, he's not good enough to play there, he's not good enough to play there. And I think that's part of our problem this season, is the reason why certain players look crap compared to usual, like Fabinho has and stuff, isn't because 3 of them have all gone really bad overnight. I think it's just because they've had to play that many games with no one to relieve them. I think if we had someone like Mason Mount there to play against, you play against them, so he can be absolutely brilliant against them, and then that's what we missed. So in that regard, I'd probably take him, but Jude Bellingham's the one for me.
Yeah,
still,
obviously.
100%.
That's the target.
But then,
Don't think you're getting him though.
It's not becoming a weekly Jude
I know.
Bellingham
This is
debate.
just the debate me and Matt seem to have every 3 days.
yeah, we just sort of spam each other on Instagram over it. Like David Ornstein come out the other day, and it was on the front page of everywhere with literally nothing new.
I don't want to get back into this.
You
know my piece.
What was the? Should we reveal the little bet we've made anyway about?
What, do I know about this? I don't think I do.
I don't think you've seen this. Basically,
God.
we've agreed that if he signs for Real Madrid, he's buying a Real Madrid shop with shirt with Bellingham on it.
Right.
When he signs for Real Madrid.
And if he does, I will hand write him an apology letter and buy him a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But he's
September
Sandwich,
1st, I'll be
which is
expecting a box of chocolates.
So if he goes to Liverpool,
If he doesn't go to Liverpool this summer.
but there's no counter thing.
I think he should buy me a Liverpool shirt with Bellingham.
Yeah, all right. I don't know about that. I'll buy you an Everton shirt with Bellingham on the back. There you go. Compromise.
Well, it's like talking of weird messages we've sent each other this week.
Oh no! What are you about to?
maybe
Oh,
You. So I'm sat in mine yesterday, and I was going to meet Shay in uni, and I was like, just let me know when you're leaving. And his reply was, "Sound mate, just need to drop off a hamster." so I looked at my phone like, what? Do you want to expand
yeah.
on that?
What's going on with your hamster, Shay?
Why you got to drop it off?
This past week, my life has been ruined by this hamster. I swear to God. Honestly, like the thing is, right back to the start. Shannon got a hamster, right?
Yeah.
Without asking anyone that we live with. Okay, so she's got it. I was like, fine. As long as he doesn't have anything to do with me. Oh, she. Sorry, it's a she. As long as she doesn't have anything to do with me, and I don't have anything to do with her.
Who's Shannon, not the hamster?
Well, depends, doesn't it? Oh, that.
Was it in
a communal?
Was it in a communal, or was it like?
It was in. Got a few spare rooms. It was in. It had its own. Room,
Had its own bedroom.
Had its own fucking room, right? So anyway, up until last week, both me and Hamster were keeping our sides of the bargain. Like he wasn't bothering me, I wasn't bothering him. Anyway, he suddenly decided last week he can eat through anything. So he's basically come in one day and there's a massive gaping hole in his cage, like in the plastic bit of his cage. We're like, oh my God. Anyway, so we couldn't find him for ages. Basically, because he'd been in the room all day by himself, he clawed at loads of stuff, made a big mess everywhere. There's like little holes in the wall. We were thinking he's gone in the wall here. Anyway, it worked out. He'd basically gone under the couch, dug into the couch, and he basically made his own little home in his couch. He dragged, because we left the cage in there open in case he wanted to go in there. And he's basically gone back into his cage, dragged a load of stuff out, got a load of food, and created a little den at the bottom of the couch. Anyway, so we've got him out of there, and the past week we've spent trying to tape up, put anything over this cage to stop him.
Shay's landlord's watching. This is all for comedic purposes.
Yeah, this is a totally made up story. Anyway, yeah, so we basically tried to block him in however we can, and the final straw was when we put like a bit of, it was like I don't know what you call it. It's like a little, what you cook a cottage pie in, maybe
like an oven dish,
and a little glass oven dish, right? And we put it over the hole, and he sort of chewed the edge of glass.
Jesus Christ!
And I was like,
what were you feeding him?
How is it not dead? Honestly, and so I just looked at her then. And I was like, this is it. This is the end. And Shannon was on board then. There was a few debates about putting her down humanely, but
yourself
just drop the glass dish on her.
Yeah.
The plan was crunching paracetamol into the water. Right, but that sounds really bad. It wasn't a proper like. We're never gonna do that.
Gonna assassinate his hamster.
But yeah, then someone came up with a suggestion that we drop it off at Pets Home, almost like they re-adopt it, which I didn't know you could do. But Shannon rang up and they said, yeah, we'll take it. So we've basically gone.
I don't think you left them much choice.
Yeah, so we've gone. That's what I was doing yesterday. Taking it to Pet's Home in a little plastic bag and a ball.
I got a Snapchat message, and it was just this zoomed in photo of this little hamster's head looking out a bag through a ball. Just
yeah, but so the woman just took it. We had to fill out some forms. Adoption, it's like adopting a kid or something. But yeah, they've taken it back now. But the woman really wasn't happy with us taking it in a bag. Because apparently it could have suffocated. But I don't know what she wanted me to do.
Roll it.
Keepy uppies all the way to Pet's Home.
Just walk it on a lead. Like.
Yeah. But yeah, so now, you know what? Having said all that, I sort of miss it. I sort of miss the drama. It's sort of, my past week's been taken over by it. And I was looking at where she was today before I left to uni. I was like,
cage still there?
Yeah. No, the cage. Well, the cage. I don't know where the cage is actually. Now, listen, this hamster he's like the reincarnation of those guys that escaped Alcatraz. It's like they've come back as this hamster. Honest to God, nothing could have done anything, and it would have escaped.
I just the eating glass.
That is mad.
That was a step too far, wasn't it? I was like, this hamster's just got.
Ever bite anyone?
You know what? Weirdly, not really a biter. Like if you stuck your finger in it and nibble, like, but it wasn't very aggressive.
Just as well, really.
But yeah, so that's the end of Cookie Shakira.
Cookie
Shakira.
Yeah.
Is that triple barrel or is that?
Definitely
no, just first name, double barrel.
All right.
But nothing to do with me naming, and nothing to do with hamster apart from its
from it attempting to murder it.
Yeah. Another mysterious message we got was
how did your Paddy's Day go?
Paddy's Day was great. It was the whole really weird bit at the end. So I was walking out my friend's house. Like we went back to hers after town. Just walk outside with my mate, and this guy's walking past. Just turns and goes, "What?" I was confused. I didn't know he was talking to me. I was like, "What?" And then he just like runs at me and tries to hit me. So I just kind of like duck him out of the way and like throw him on the floor. He gets back up. My glasses have gone somewhere at this point. I don't know if he's hit me or they've just fallen off my head. And now like he's on the floor. Then his mate starts like dragging him away, and I've got no glasses. I don't know. I can't see anything. I call everyone out the house to try and find my glasses. They're not there. So I've ended up having to walk home half blind. And now these are my spare pair, which I have. Also, sorry, Mum, if you're listening, I've lost my glasses again. But.
Hang on, was he out cold? He had to be dragged away?
No, he had to be dragged away because he was an idiot, and he kept... I wasn't trying to punch him or anything, because I wasn't expecting it, really. So I just kept kind of ducking out of the way, grabbing him and throwing him on the floor, just because it seemed the easiest way to get out of the situation. And I think his mate realised that he didn't really have a chance, and so he's kind of like picked him up and dragged him off.
See, we spoke about this, didn't we? And we were like, we'd love to know what really happened.
I kind of want to know because I'm a bit foggy on it.
It's just, for exactly that reason. Yeah. We think something else.
It seems a bit unlikely to me that some random lad at like 3 o'clock in the morning has gone, he's got a boss pair of glasses on there.
I don't think he meant to steal the glasses. Or like, I'm also not 100% they didn't like go under a car somewhere or something. Like, I'm really confused about the entire situation, to be honest.
I'd pay good money to see the footage of that incident.
And
see how it went down.
I might put like an anonymous appeal, Facebook or Twitter or something. Anyone take home a pair of glasses as like
anyone find any glasses on Bradford Avenue.
But it was weird because I saw you that night.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes.
You disappeared.
Yeah, I wasn't planning. I said I'll sit with you, but then I forgot I was planning to meet my mate who was waiting for me. So, also I came out back to try and find where you were. You said you were still there. You weren't still there.
Honestly, a good 20 minutes I waited there.
Just by yourself?
To be fair, we established in episode 1 that Shay is a master of disguise. So we could have been...
I'm surprised I saw him the first time, to be honest. He had his back to me, and I was just like, that looks like Shay's back. So I tried it, and it was. His actual back, not his back.
Yeah,
well, what? I'm glad you all had a good weekend, lads.
Yeah, it was
anyway.
good fun. It was great. It was good. Got to love St. Paddy's in Liverpool. It's great fun.
You know what? It was a bit too busy, I thought, personally.
Well, I only spent a tenner, so I was pretty gassed.
What? Did you not buy any drinks?
We pre-drank, and then when I got there, me and my mate both bought a shot of tequila, and I bought a Guinness. Then I had a Guinness later, and then someone else bought me a Guinness later. And that's like all I drank in town, because I kept going into places and then not getting a drink, just like seeing people and then leaving again. So I don't know, just didn't spend that much.
I'm going to have a little rant as well here about this. I mean, Paddy's Day is different because everyone goes out and wants to have a good time. But this thing where bars and even pubs sometimes play really loud music.
Yeah.
To the point where you can't even speak to people. And it's like, if I wanted that, I'll go clubbing.
Like,
we went to play pool the other week, and we were just sat.
Oh yeah.
It's like 7.
I walked in, and
o'clock.
this for context is like a quiet-ish student bar. It does like you can get like a kilogram of chicken wings for like a tenner, and like it's like £1 a game of pool. And we went in, and a smoke machine went off, and I was what? And then this DJ in the loosest term possible.
Like a year 6 DJ.
He was like, oh, can we have a happy birthday? Are you ready?
There were so many birthdays that night. I guarantee you only one person actually had a birthday that day, because I think people just kept going up to him to say it's my birthday because they knew he'd make a mug and just start singing happy birthday.
And someone did Juice WRLD on karaoke.
Yeah, there was some strange karaoke.
That's a bad shout, that, isn't it?
I think this was just after... did we went to the Central later, didn't we?
Yeah, we went to Central later.
The best standard of karaoke I have ever seen in my life in there.
Oh, it's fantastic. It is like an episode of The Voice auditions, but like everyone's over 50.
And blasted.
And it's sort of... Well, I really enjoy it, because I probably won't be a karaoke person anyway, like I won't go up, but like... It puts you off going up because you're like, I'm just going to bring this standard so far down here.
Just auto-tuned.
Yeah.
I do like a karaoke night, but I never get on the mic. I just kind of steal the show from the back of the room.
Yeah. But yeah, that DJ, it was, I think I said it, didn't I? It just reminded me of like being back in Mallorca, the kids' disco.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are you doing?
Or when you're by the pool and that person comes out and gets everyone to do like aqua aerobics or something.
And it was just like, this is the thing. But you go to pubs and places like that to chat and have a pint, maybe a bit of ambient music in the background or something.
Yeah.
But,
Another thing, there might be people watching this that enjoy it, but there's this weird trend now in pubs of just whacking NFL on.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, this is the other one.
What is this about? Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people enjoy it. I know there's a growing audience over here for UK sports. I'm sure some of them are boss.
US.
Like, sorry for US sports, but every time I'm out now, there's just NFL on it, and it's...
Well, I think it's because they just... Like, it's nice to have a sport on of any kind.
This is my point, though. They pay for these big screens, so I feel like they feel like they need to have something on. And I'm like, just don't force stuff on. Like, don't put like O'Shea's do it as well. To be fair, don't they? They always
always had the basketball.
Yeah, but it's a random basketball on. It's like nobody's watching it, and it's just in the background. It's like,
but then you end up going...
Yeah, you just end up watching.
I'm such a sucker for getting distracted.
Everyone will be chatting and you'll go, oh.
I'm the worst for that. Like the Sky News would be on the headlines, and I'll just be like, "Oh, look at that!" And everyone else is like in the middle of a conversation.
You are the worst for that.
We
We went earlier this season. We went to watch Manchester City play Sevilla in the Champions League, didn't we?
Yeah,
we did.
We got some last-minute tickets because, as everyone knows, anyone can get a ticket to watch Man City because they can't sell them.
Yeah.
So we got there and we met the Sevilla fans, didn't we, in town?
Yeah.
Got a bosh picture with their Sevilla flag. Attempted to sing some Spanish football chants.
That was a good laugh. That was
it was good.
And we got to the Etihad, and we're sat in the Etihad. Obviously, we're in the home end. And me and Shay are sort of like not into this, but good game. Let's have a laugh. Let's watch it. So we're sat there. He, at one point, is on his feet, jumping up and down, screaming because Man City didn't get a throw in. You just get really in. And me,
I love football, man.
I looked at you and we're like, what are you doing? And you turn around and said something like, I've paid money to watch the best team in England.
I don't remember saying that, and on record I did not say that.
And then we left with 5 minutes to go because these two decided to spark up the Gerrard Lampard goals debate. In the
We
middle
weren't the only ones interested in that debate, by the way. The lad behind us was interested.
There was City fans participating in this, by the way. That's how much they are just not asked about in Man City.
To be fair, no one was asked about that game. Pretty sure they'd already qualified. Like,
yeah. Well, it was more boss day.
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to say I kept it on the low.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't tell any close family or friends.
Shay's dad.
Yeah, he's a big fan of the pod, so he'll be watching. I didn't tell anyone I went to a City game because I was just like, well, one, I didn't want to go. These two bullied me into it.
It's because they were very cheap tickets.
Yeah, they're incredibly cheap, and I thought, that'd be a good laugh. And then we came up with the idea to meet the Sevilla fans. And that was quality.
That was quality. But I think that the pub that we met them in, I think we spoke individually to every Sevilla fan that was at that game.
I spoke to the ones that could speak English.
But
they translated.
Maybe like 60 of them in that pub, would you say?
Yeah.
And then when you look down at the away section, there's probably like 100 there. We've probably met at least half of them.
We've got a boss picture with that flag, and I think everyone in that photo was just the entirety of it.
Yeah. It was good though. I just never shouted "Vamos!" Vamos!
I went on a rugby tour to Madrid, and they kept shouting "Vamos," so we kept shouting "Vamos." But one thing to end off the podcast this week: UFC London was last Saturday. Oh, actually, there's another thing I want to talk about as well. But Leon Edwards retained his belt against Kamaru Usman. None of the Americans thought he was going to do it. All the British did. Victory for the English. Felt good.
I watched this because I thought, we sometimes talk about UFC, so I'll watch it for a bit of homework, and I can still no input to this conversation. They fought. He won.
He did.
It was a close fight.
I think it's because you don't know how good Usman was. Because like last year, he was like the best fighter in the world.
He was pound for
pound number one, knocking out Masvidal, knocked out Covington. Like I think he actually won a decision against Covington, but he was the pinnacle.
All right.
Until Leon Edwards came along. Headshot, dead.
Yeah, there's
very cold for.
There's a boss picture, but he's just stood in front of him like that.
Yeah, Usman always walks up to his opponent before, and he like gets right in their face, and Leon Edwards just stood in front of him and was just shooting him in the head. Because in their last fight, he kicked him in the head, knocked him out, and then got on the mic and went headshot, dead, and it was amazing. One of the best moments in British just MMA history. Teared up a little bit when he first won the belt.
He's like from Birmingham, isn't he? But he's
born
in Jamaica.
Jamaican born, moved to Birmingham when he was about 10. Dad got murdered when he was 13. Started fighting. Now he's the champion of the world. Very cool.
I love his interviews. To be fair, he's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Leon Edwards.
The other side of combat sports today, the latest, isn't it? As well as everything we spoke about at the end of the last podcast.
It's completely relevant.
It's completely irrelevant because Usyk Fury just isn't happening now. Is the latest.
Do you know what happened with that? Because I saw the headline, but I haven't really looked into why.
Yeah, so obviously it was Fury gave him a 70-30 split.
Yeah.
Not expecting to say yeah. He said yeah. Then Fury said, I don't want there to be a rematch clause. Usyk was like, fine, you're the one who's put the rematch clause in there. So it was going back and forth, they're arguing over pay. Basically, some of the belt organisations, there's a deadline of the 1st of April, and if there isn't fight contract signed by the 1st of April, Usyk has mandatory obligations, so he's got to fight, like Daniel Dubois is one. So that looks like that's probably going to happen now. That'll be the next fight, and then Anthony Joshua is back on the 1st of April as well. He's fighting, but it's just annoying. Really, it's doing my head in. It's more testament to the fact that boxing has too much politics in it.
Yeah, it does.
It's killing the sport to a degree, and that's why KSI and Jake Paul are making loads of money.
Have you seen this, by the way? KSI and KSI is doing a tag team match with Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather and I think Salt Pappy.
Yeah, I've seen this on various places. It's just mad. And like, if you're Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao, it's hilarious, isn't it?
Dude, Floyd Mayweather is... This whole boxing thing of like KSI fighting Mayweather is just proof to me that we live in a simulation. I don't think you can get a clearer evidence that Deji fought Floyd Mayweather.
Fought some random fella from Geordie Shore the other week in Manchester, and just no one watched it.
I didn't even know that, and it was only happening around the corner.
He has an exhibition match with some fella from Geordie Shore who's had a few MMA fights, and I just, as soon as I saw that, I just thought it's quite sad in a way that's the pinnacle. Like,
it's not the pinnacle.
Not the pinnacle of boxing, but you've got your
goat of
your title fights,
modern day goat.
And then now, like, there's such an audience for this weird exhibition stuff, and like Darren Till, who's obviously just left the UFC, he was getting interviewed the other day, and Till was like, there's a lot of rumours about him going into boxing, and he was like, if I did, to be fair, I think I'd probably have a look at the exhibition stuff because it's where the money is.
Yeah.
You've got professional fighters now who fancy a go at a YouTuber.
I mean, why would you not?
To get some money, but I like yeah, great for them. But in terms of the sport, and this is why I think, to the UFC's credit, that's popularity is soaring now. Like it used to be when I think you'll agree that when the UFC kicked into mainstream almost, a lot of that was McGregor.
Yeah.
But in this sort of like post McGregor era, it's on its own 2 feet, and it's like every we're talking about Leon Edwards now, and like everyone knows who they are.
Well, I still don't think like it's the mainstream though. I think people heard a lot about Leon in this country because it's only the second English champion, but I still think MMA has a lot of room to grow.
Definitely, but one thing that I think is mad is how it's now sort of attaching itself to this crap. Like in this slap fighting thing.
Yeah, that's Dana White's new adventure.
It's just two fellas stood opposite each other.
I've seen that. You can't defend yourself.
Yeah, you just get slapped. What is that?
It's so ridiculous.
What is that? And this is what's mad. Like boxing is become almost a farce. Parts boxing has become almost a farce that people are watching fellas slap each other.
Yeah. It's just because they actually knock each other out, though, isn't it? It's literally just them waiting to see who gets knocked out. I don't get it. I'm not going to watch it.
I don't get it.
Definitely not going to pay for it. I'd watch maybe a celebrity version. I don't know. It'd be funny, but I'm not that arsed.
I'm not. It's just, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
slapping into the podcast.
Slapping into the podcast.
Knee slapper. The worst pun I've ever
It doesn't even work, does it?
What is a slapping?
I don't know. I just thought.
I don't know. I think we have to end it after that. So cheers, Shay. Ruined it for everyone.
Thank you. No problem. No problem. I'll be back again next week.
All right.
Cheers.
See you later, guys.
See you later,
Bye.
See you later.